Yeah, goodness, whoever was on earlier and heard it, it was just dumping down rain. It's coming in all sideways and getting the screen all wet. No bueno. Yeah, sorry about that, but back to where we were.
It's one of those things where
this is hilarious that she is, and I don't know what the hell is this show. Let's see. It's called Joe Pags.
Joey
It says
Peg.
talk radio doesn't
Have to be boring.
to be boring. Joe
No,
Pags.
I mean, I guess it doesn't, but if this is your if this
just look
is your
at
idea
the guy
of
is just
entertainment,
like just got the mic up to the face.
you know
just
what?
All serious.
You know
Yep.
what? You know what? He does provide pretty good content for entertainment. I'm just saying.
It's entertaining
Right. I mean,
to
when
watch an idiot and a complete denialist
right.
just throw any sort of reputation they had to their name and any sort of merit, which I don't even know at this point. But the idea that, I mean, this is the sad truth that these people, this is the reality they live in. They go around, they're yelling at the fucking clouds like Donald Trump saying Joe Biden and saying that it's.
Well, we watched the video yesterday.
Yeah.
And now we know why he did that video. The Durham story was
exactly.
going to drop. He knew it was going to drop. I said yesterday when we were watching, I'm like, look, he's trying to get what he wants people to say in the threads on Twitter.
Yep.
What he wants his supporters to say about the fucking truth that's going to come out. He wants you to know what lies to tell.
Yep.
And in true fashion, yesterday afternoon, we find out this fucking Durham Bill Barr story and the investigation into Russia. That's why he was so focused in that video on Russia in the 2016 campaign, not the 2020 election. He was focused on 2016. And the reason why is because the world was about to find out that, again, he's a criminal, corrupt fucking scumbag. And that he is the deep shit state swamp.
Yep.
I've put that together. Deep shit state swamp. I don't know. I think it goes
I mean,
pretty well.
it's a
kind of long, but
it's
it
you know.
fits.
I mean, it gets the point across.
It gets there, right?
Yeah.
And you can just say the deep shit state or the Trump swamp. You know, you can shorten it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Republicans want to talk about we got to drain the swamp, and in order to get the swamp out, like I mean, there were the 20 or so Republicans during the House Speaker vote that were like, Kevin McCarthy is part of the swamp, and we got to drain the swamp. And I mean, good for them for calling out Kevin McCarthy being part of the swamp, especially in relation to Trump, even though some of those 20 people voted for Trump, who is like the fucking swamp master. He is the swamp thing. And the idea that they weren't able to connect the two, but just associate one of them.
Okay, yesterday I released a clip of me comparing sex toys and guns. So I'm going to do something here. And this might make a pretty good clip. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. You ever had swamp ass? You ever had swamp ass? You know what swamp ass is.
Yeah, sweaty. Yeah.
Right. You sitting on like a chair, and you get out of the chair, and even the chair is like fucking wet. And guys get this a lot more than... Because guys are fucking gross, right?
Yeah.
They're fucking gross. They don't take enough showers, probably. They're just disgusting human beings, men. And they sweat a lot, and you sweat in a place, right, that gives you swamp ass. Now, Trump and his deep state actions here are like the swamp ass on us, right? They're like our country's swamp ass. You can't get really rid of it. I mean, you got to take shower after shower. You got to make sure meticulously that you're clean and that you're dry.
Maybe you throw some Botox shots in to stop the sweating.
or some powder, something. You might need some baby powder to get rid of the swamp ass, but you got to actively make sure that you don't have swamp ass, and I think that's what we're dealing with here. I don't know. What do you think about this comparison between Trump and swamp ass?
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Trump is the swamp ass of government administration.
So now policies. We're at deep shit state swamp ass.
Yeah, state shit swamp ass.
That's a little too long.
That's almost as long as George Santos's real name.
Right.
George Anthony DeVolder Dose Santos, DeSantis,
Oh
Santos.
my God.
You know,
Speaking of Anthony DeVolder,
Zabrowski.
George Santos, or whatever his name is, my guess is he's a feature in the Bonehead of the Week.
he's
probably
not
correct in
only a
saying-
feature, but like
Is he the benefit?
he's the.
How many times? How long have we known about George Santos? Not that long, right?
We found out about him at the end of last year.
Now, I'm not going to give away today's.
During the holidays, that's when he
Christmas,
came into the
right?
fold.
So,
Yeah,
so think about
pretty
this.
much.
It's the end of January.
Yeah.
January
We're 4
27th,
weeks
right?
in to
Right.
knowing about him.
Okay, so put this in perspective. I'm not going to give away today's thing, but George Santos so far is 3 for 4 on the Bonehead of the Week. Like he's 3 for. He didn't win that first week because no one really had him much on the radio.
He wasn't really a household name. Not
Right.
that anyone really knew his name or himself.
Or,
Him-
well,
he
I
knows, yeah,
do
he
we
knows his name.
still know his name? I don't know if we.
No, every day there's something new. He doesn't quite know his name. I mean, this week, if you thought last week was crazy, this week was even more stuff. It's just oh my God, it just doesn't. It
And I know
honestly
there's going to be
doesn't
more
stop.
drop on this idiot.
Oh yeah, no, I believe me. I'm currently working on a story about George Santos,
Oh, really?
and I'm talking with some people, and I spoke with.
So can we say anything about it?
No, don't say.
Okay.
anything about it.
But can you give any kind of information? Should we do it in the Bonehead? Because I know he's in Bonehead.
He's in Bone. I can like mention one
Okay,
thing just because
okay.
I'm still working on it, and it's
Right.
still
We're
like
trying to
Yeah.
verify some information.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's go to a break because we're in the top of the second hour. Let's go to a break in Bonehead of the Week right after these messages.
We'll be right back. Mark, 60 seconds. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
I've always wanted to learn a new language, but whenever I try, it never sticks. So when Babbel made a MAGA edition, I knew I had to give it a try. Babbel MAGA edition makes it really easy to learn, and there's lots of lessons to choose from, like subtly racist to full-blown white supremacist. The first lesson began with learning simple phrases, and soon I was putting those words and phrases into a conversation. Each lesson takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete, and they're all really different, which keeps things interesting. The app is really smart. It actually keeps track of the words that I'm struggling with. I chose Babbel MAGA edition because it's created by smart white people, like me. And now I can't wait to explore, meet new friends, and use my new MAGA skills with my in-laws. All lives matter!
Jumping back into it, this is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
We've been playing that parody commercial for quite some time. Babbel. Gabe Sanchez, you always are way ahead of the curve, and I just noticed this, that the Trump supporter in the video, he's holding a Trump 2024 cardboard sign that he used a Sharpie. You're always ahead of the curve. Always way ahead of what is going to happen. It's the second hour on Friday. You know what that means. Bonehead of the Week.
Bonehead of the Week.
This is my favorite segment.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
I love it.
I like Bonehead of the Week. Here's why. Because it's a good explanation point on the week. It kind of gives us the ability to kind of do a little bit of a review, even though it's like a review of the last 24 hours. Because that's how these fucking idiots work. They never give us the opportunity to really put a bonehead in from Monday. We used to try to do that, but it never worked because people are like, what did that person do? And then they've done like 3 things. But you're not going to be disappointed today. I'm not sure exactly why we have the alpha cut that we have or the DM. I have an idea of these stories, but I'm going to let you explain that when we get to it. Because I didn't. Usually you tell me, hey, these is AC and DM, but I'm just now learning who the alpha cuck and the DM is. But let's get into it. Let's go to Bonehead of the Week. Bonehead of the Week. This is your edition of this week's Bonehead of the Week. Oh boy, it's been a boneheaded week. There's been a lot of boneheaded things. Yesterday on the show, we went through Captain Bonehead, Donald Trump's little video, and we found out yesterday afternoon why he made the video as a preemptive lie, argument, gaslighting of what, was going to be exposed to the American people about how corrupt and how swampy and how deep shit state Donald Trump and his administration actually were. So these are the contestants on this week's Bonehead of the Week. Of course, Donald Trump himself, the Cheeto Dust QAnoner, and then also John Durham, which I don't. Did you have to make his face today? Is this the first time he's ended up on this, or no?
This is the first time that John Durham. I mean, like, look, we could have made fun of John Durham for losing the other 2 lawsuits or cases that he went into court for, but he never.
You mean the sham investigations that he?
Yeah. I mean,
the sham prosecutions.
Clinton. Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
I would almost argue that John Durham, unless you're really like, it's kind of an inside baseball reference. Like, I feel like John Durham isn't a name that you would normally know, and it definitely wasn't a name that was evoked during the
unless you're very familiar with the laptop talk.
Yeah.
If you're very familiar with the bullshit laptop talk, all the lies built around the laptop from hell.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with that, then you would be very familiar with Durham, because they had high hopes. I mean, they were going to lock up Hillary Clinton. They were going to lock up Barack Obama for spying on campaigns. I mean, they were going to prove that not only did Donald Trump not collude with Russia, but it was Hillary Clinton that colluded with Russia to make sure Donald Trump didn't win. I mean, all this just fucking bullshit nonsense. They wanted to prove that the P-tape isn't real, which it is. I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted to prove all these things, and Durham was their big hope, right?
Yeah.
He was the one that was going to prosecute these people and put them in Gitmo or whatever the hell these QAnoners believe, and he did none of that. And as a matter of fact, there was the opposite kind of happening in this investigation that they covered up. But we'll get into that. Also, we have the average everyday Republican, George Santos. He loves his lies. Everyone knows he loves his lies. The problem is he's not very good at it. He's just not a professional liar like some of the other professional politicians out there, like maybe our dishonorable mention today. But let's start, because really, honestly, the John Durham and the Donald Trump thing, it's one and the same, isn't it? I mean, usually we have like 2 different stories here. But this is where the idiotic universes collide, is Bonehead of the Week sometimes. And we have a huge collision here of boneheads with John Durham and Donald Trump. And I'm going to drag Bill Barr into this section. Of this. So, for those of you who do not know and who are not familiar with all the laptop language that is the lies and delusion of QAnon, John Durham was going to be their great hope to charge and imprison, and I don't know. They were going to execute him, put him in. I don't know what the fuck. They were going to remove Joe Biden and Joe Biden.
They were going to use the tyrannical government that they don't like to have to then imprison someone and put them in Gitmo.
To install a dictator.
I will say this: that is definitely a recurring punishment that people on the right have for anyone who they feel is the enemy. They go, send him to Gitmo, or put him on a bar. Like Ginny Thomas was, put him on a barge outside of Gitmo. Like, what the fuck? There's a why? I mean, because
see, here's the thing. The reason why Ginny Thomas wants him on a barge outside Gitmo is because we've exposed, and Democrats, Senate Democrats specifically exposed, Claire McCaskill being one of them, the former senator from Missouri, and Al Franken. They exposed the fact that they were torturing people at Gitmo. I don't know if you heard of waterboarding or not, but that's why they're so obsessed. That's why they're so obsessed with Gitmo, because they think that's where people get waterboarded.
Right.
Which it
is
was.
Is that considered international waters out there?
Well, so that's what I'm saying, is that's what probably Ginny Thomas, that's what, I mean, you got to get inside of their fucking little cult deluded minds of why they say some of this stupid shit in the first place. It's not, again, I told everyone in the beginning of the show, in the first 30 minutes, that there is a difference between opinion and belief. Your belief is not an opinion automatically. It's not. Opinions are based in fact, right? You can have a certain set of facts. Me and Gabe can agree on 3 or 4 facts and we can form different opinions based on the facts. We've done it on this show. We typically agree, but we don't always agree. We disagreed yesterday when I said Trump absolutely should be on Twitter. I hope he's on Twitter. He needs to be on Facebook. I'm itching for this little fat slob to get on Facebook so we can out microphone him. That's my thought. You have a little different idea.
It was just for Facebook. I was like, I don't care about Twitter.
Well, right.
But Facebook was the one that I was like, that's the evil one.
But we're using the same set of facts to form our opinions. Now, there is a difference between opinions and belief. Belief is just, I mean, your belief can be based in fact and opinion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of my beliefs are.
Be very misconstrued and manipulated in your own determination or interpretation.
Well, it could be like the video we just watched of Carrie Lake, where she believes that a judge can just overturn an election and make her the governor of. I don't know that there's any mechanism for a judge in Arizona to be like, you're the governor. Oh, you're the, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
Oprah meme. Yeah, you're the governor. You're the governor. You're the governor. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This delusion.
It doesn't. I mean, their logic is that there's a lack of logic, right? It never makes any sense. And when they try to explain something, they come up with some whataboutism on something that actually contradicts their own point that they're trying to make. So they end up more or less defeating their own point by themselves. And you just kind of just sit by and watch and be like, oh, okay, all right. But the idea that you'd be, for her example, or any other Republican where they're like, oh no, it was the deep state and the judge has to be the one that appoints. I mean, it's almost as effective of like an argument as Donald Trump saying, if I think about declassifying documents, they're declassified.
Right.
And that's not how the world works. And that's just not based in reality. And none of these Republicans are. And John Durham is a great example of that.
Well, it's the same way with the documents mind control stuff, because we're going to talk about Trump here. Is that it's a belief. You believe that happens, but it's not an opinion because there's no basis in fact.
Right.
Like you gotta have a few facts about your little thoughts and your thinky space using its energy there to form an opinion. Now, your opinion can be that the President of the United States, the sitting President of the United States, can declassify any information that he wants. That's a fact. It can't happen that way. But just because that's a fact doesn't mean that your stupid belief is based in that fact, because it just isn't. But let's go to the facts of this story on Durham and Trump and why they ended up on Bonehead of the Week. Lawrence Tribe has it here. His commentary is on Twitter: when Durham unexpectedly found evidence of crimes committed by rather than against Trump, he and Barr deliberately deceived the nation into thinking the opposite. Sounds familiar almost on like every issue.
Yeah.
This deep dive by the New York Times is as jaw-dropping as anything read in the past decade. I did read part of this. I didn't read the exact whole thing from start to finish, but literally almost every single fucking sentence of it, you're like, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, for fuck's sake. Like, you could use 1,000 hand palm or face palm emojis.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things that is like totally not surprising, especially when they're like, oh yeah, so we, Bill Barr handed this off to John Durham to look into. John Durham looks into it and he goes, oh, okay. So it turns out he actually he made some boo-boos and he wasn't actually the victim here. And so the idea that if they don't like the answer that they want, or if they don't get the confirmation bias that they need to continue with something, then they'll, toss it off to the side. I mean, where are these Twitter files, baby? Huh?
Right, exactly. But this is the ability of the Republicans to reverse engineer everything. I know I keep going back to this story, and it doesn't seem like that. Like, how is the Eminem story this story? I'm telling you, it's the exact same shit.
Yep.
Exact same shit, folks. They're reverse engineering. They tried to reverse engineer something that didn't exist. And because they were using a system that relies on fucking facts to some degree to do what they wanted to do, which was prosecute people in front of a jury of their peers, it was damn difficult to reverse engineer this. And what's funny about it, which is not surprising, is that when they started to reverse engineer, they found crimes that Donald Trump committed. Because what happened is they went to the Italian government, because what they wanted from the Italian government was to reverse engineer their narrative. They wanted the reverse engineering. They wanted proof and evidence, or at least a narrative that showed that there was corruption from Clinton, and collusion from Clinton, not Donald Trump.
I mean, in a way, they kind of went about the scientific method. It just ended up proving themselves wrong, right? So their idea was like, this is our
but the
hypothesis.
scientific method doesn't reverse engineer the results,
right?
Well, in most cases,
and
that's why they failed. They failed so great here,
right.
and their failure here is important, right? I mean, a lot of people are upset about this and they're pissed about this, but folks, this is why us being in a pro-democracy coalition and really just standing behind facts and truth is important. But this exercise of showing who these people are and exposing themselves, especially Bill Barr, because Durham, and really honestly, there's a lot of legal minds out there. When Durham got assigned to this case, they were like, oh, well, Durham, he's got credibility and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You need to recant your statements. You need to get out in front of the people and say, you were fucking wrong. You were dead wrong. You can't believe you're wrong, but you are wrong. And you will try better on your analysis of this stuff. Because it didn't matter the vehicle of Durham. Right. Because Durham was just assigned, again, to to reverse engineer the result that they wanted, not to actually seek facts and then prosecute based on those facts. Because what ended up happening as they reverse engineering this idea that the Italian government was somehow going to tell them, oh yeah, the Clintons were the ones that were colluding with Russia, they found out that Trump committed crimes in Italy, because the Italians are like, oh yeah, that crime doesn't exist, but hey, by the way, look at this crime. Now, no one knows what this crime is, because in this article, it does not lay out what the crimes are. They're not reporting on that as of yet. But my guess is that it does have to do with the collusion. It's the crime of the
because they look into the Russia investigation. Russia, hoax, all that bullshit. But the idea that they went in to confirm their own beliefs, right? They just wanted confirmation bias. Be like, yes, he was the victim, and these crimes really were against him, and he didn't do anything wrong. And when they go to test that, theory or that bias, then they find out, oh, actually, Trump did do some stuff wrong.
The evidence of collusion wasn't from Clinton. It was from...
But it does go to show you that once more, just like the obstruction committee, right, of the Republican Party in the House, is that their investigation either turns out to be a total dud, or it reveals something that, oh, the person that we were going in to protect and with an investigation, turns out that person actually did something wrong, and this whole deep state plot was actually Trump and not anyone else against Trump, right? And so you find like this. So Trump was, almost 4 years now is what the investigation that was going on, and they still came up with nothing other than finding out that Trump actually was involved.
Well, they tried to prosecute a couple people, but failed miserably.
Right.
And the reason why is because a jury of their peers went, I mean, it has to be, something more than this. And they acquitted them of the charges that Durham manufactured. And again, it's a manufacturing and reverse manufacturing of this idea. Now, I know I played a lot of this video yesterday, and I promise to the audience that I'm not gonna play the entirety of this video today. I promise. But I do think it is important to watch part of this and understand now that we know what we know about the New York Times article and the actual investigation, and more to the idea that they found crime that Trump committed, probably to do with collusion, and they covered it up. And they being Bill Barr. I don't want fucking cookies. Why? There we go. Okay. I don't want cookies. I mean, I'm trying to, get a swimmer's body here. Okay. Okay. So we're going to watch part of this, and I don't know exactly the timestamp because this thing's long. We mocked it yesterday. So if you want to see us mocking this, just go to our channel, The Tony Michaels Podcast. Just go to YouTube, The Tony Michaels Podcast. It would be episode number, I don't know what episode number
yesterday?
is.
This is today's 319. So
yeah, so it's 318. be 318 is the episode that you're looking for. And we did, I don't know, it's like 45 minutes on this stupid 5-minute video that this guy did. But here is the Cheeto Dust QAnoner, and he's going to talk about this Russia hoax. But let's watch part of this.
But they asked that all data on their phones, never done this before, be wiped off. In some cases, they said, oh, I'm sorry, it was a mistake. Can you imagine what we would have found with Page and Strzok and all of them? Who in the Mueller team was in charge of leaking secret information and fake news stories to dishonest journalists, of which there are many?
Okay, let's go forward.
Politicians. Why did numerous FBI and CIA analysts go out and purchase professional liability?
Okay, let's go forward.
Government agencies, directly or indirectly, for their role in spreading domestic disinformation, like the FBI did with Twitter. Paid them $3,600,000 so far that we know of.
Domestic disinformation. What the fuck does that mean? We missed that yesterday. But again, this is just a rant. And again, I'm going to fast forward here again and just play, because you could pick any part of this video and listen to like 4 seconds of it and be like, Jesus Christ, he's deranged. Listen.
What was the role of federal agents and informants in pressing the crowd toward the Capitol on January 6th?
You were. I mean, this goes on and on, but
who could have been the bad guy?
This is more of a story in that, again, the video that we watched yesterday, and I would encourage you strongly to go watch our episode yesterday if you didn't catch it, where we mocked the shit, because the video in its entirety, you don't want to watch it.
It's like almost 2 minutes to have the first question. He's like, I've got it. It's not what he said. I got a question. Okay. And then he goes for 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes, and doesn't ask a question. And then he gets to the point where he's like, "Who's Ray Epps?"
Yeah.
Who's Ray Epps?
That's like the funniest part of the whole clip is when he does the Ray Epps.
That's the quickest. Thing. That is the quickest question he had yesterday. He was like, "Who's Ray Epps? Who's the guy? We all know where he came from." And that was it. And then, boom, he was on to the next question.
It's funny because he's like, the question is, who is Ray Epps? And then he's like, we know the answer. Here's that clip here.
It's like, do we though?
On January 6th. And who is Ray Epps? Tell me about Ray Epps. Where does he come from? I think we know.
Who is Ray Epps? Who is Ray Epps?
Then why do you need to know if you already know? But the point is that there was a congressional committee that found out who Ray Epps was and what his involvement in January 6th was, and it was nothing. He was just a fucking idiot there.
Yeah, there's footage, there's photos that put him at.
There's testimony. There's fucking testimony of them interviewing him.
But the biggest question of the decade: who is Ray Epps?
Right.
Who is he? We all know where he came from. Yeah, I don't know. Fucking mother's birth canal.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck you want to talk about.
Right. But the other thing too is, again, this is his attempt at distraction from the crimes that he committed on January 6th. But the part of the video, because he can't just do a video on a certain subject. He's got to get off on tangents. And but the subject was, hey, this Durham information about me committing crimes in Italy, probably with collusion with Russia, is going to drop, that they hid it, and Bill Barr is a corrupt piece of shit, and he's one of the most dangerous people that was ever as an attorney general of ours. That story's going to drop, so I got to get this out there so my people know what to say when the story drops. All fake news. Here's why it's fake news, because Donald Trump said this. Our Jesus reassured us. He reassured us that he's being set up here. And really, honestly, the main story here is this, is that we have to elect folks in this country that are serious people. When you elect a criminal, corrupt motherfucker, a career corrupt motherfucker like Donald Trump, a con man, a money launderer, when you elect him to a higher office, especially the president of the United States, where he has the authority to appoint an attorney general, he is not going to appoint the attorney general in the interest of the country. He's going to appoint the attorney general in the interest of his own fucking crimes. He's going to appoint him so he can cover up his crimes. And that is what has led us to have John Durham and Donald Trump on the Bonehead of the Week. And I don't think anyone should be very surprised by that at all, honestly.
I mean, they're all connected, you know. The idea that they were like, I'm the most persecuted president of all time, and I'm totally innocent. Look, man, we went 8 years with Obama. There was no investigation. The closest thing that was crazy for them was the goddamn tan suit.
Well, and the Dijon mustard.
Oh, right.
The
Dijon mustard.
Dijon mustard gate was serious.
Yeah.
When he ordered Dijon mustard for his ham, because we all know from the Grey Poupon commercials that Dijon mustard is for elite.
If anyone remembers the Wayne's World commercial that they made from the movie,
Grey Poupon. Did you know that company? They invented the idea that Dijon mustard was the better of the mustard, the more elite of the mustards. Before that, no one liked.
Oh,
it.
yeah?
No.
I mean, yeah.
If you go back and look at the history of that marketing campaign, where the limo, like the limo pulls up
with the old dude inside.
with the old dude, he's like Grey Poupon, you know, and he's like that was all manufactured in our society and culture with marketing to mind fuck people to think that Dijon mustard was the better and more.
I mean, it's
mustard.
in a glass jar. It's got this nice little font to it. It's got a French flag, I think, on it. Colors, you know.
Right, but it was great marketing because even in our own fucking political body, when Barack Obama prefers Dijon mustard over original mustard, and he doesn't order Grey Poupon, he just says Dijon. It's a type of mustard.
Yeah.
And because that's what he preferred on that sandwich. And like, yeah, sure. The entire world's like, oh my God, I can't believe he's such an
like
elitist.
Dijon a lot, you know. Yellow mustard is like whatever, but if you add a little spice, you know, some ground mustard, some Dijon mustard.
Look,
I'm
not gonna kink shame someone or mustard shame someone, right? or condiment shame condiment shame.
Condiment.
Someone.
Yeah. I'm not gonna condom shame anyone.
I'm not gonna. Well, I wouldn't condom shame them either. I don't care. Whatever condoms you want to use, whether you want to use them or not, that's up to you. Just make sure it's consensual condoms. That's all we as a society ask. The point is that it is ridiculous to think that our country can't be mind fucked by something when just the simple fact that the biggest scandal was tan suit and Dijon mustard.
Yeah.
When the entire history of Dijon mustard is that Dijon mustard actually was looked at as the shitty mustard. It was the mustard of the pores before, and then
which
with
is
that
kind
campaign,
of which is kind of interesting because they're like kind of the same color. They're both tan, you know. I don't know. Maybe Fox News has something against tan suits, but then again, Mitch McConnell and all those other fucking idiots wear tan suits all the time inside the Oval Office.
Yeah, right. But that's different. They're white.
Oh, that's right.
I'm just saying.
I mean, that's white. I mean, that is correct.
Right. So should we do Alpha Cuck or DM first? Which one do you want to do first?
I pulled an audible. We're gonna go with DM. We'll go with DM first.
Oh, so you switched it on me.
I literally just switched it like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
It depends on what you want to do. Do you want to go?
No. Let's do the audible. Let's pull the audible. So, but I do want to show who was going to be DM here. We won't do that specific story, but this was our DM. But Gabe Sanchez, Matt Gatz, Representative Matt Venmo Gatz was going to be and I say that on purpose. I know audience. You know, they're like, is that really how you say it? Yes, that's how I say it. Because it's not spelled Gates, it's spelled Gatz. And again, anytime I want to say it like that every time. So if he ever hears me say it, it pisses him off. That's my only intention with it, really. And I just like to say his name wrong. Fuck him. But we pulled an audible at the very last moment here. See, this is how Bonehead works. Even while we're on the show, we could be changing it because now our dishonorable mention, he worked his way up at the last second. Tucker Carlson is our dishonorable mention. So, Gabe Sanchez, tell us why we have the audible.
So, if I could, I would put the whole Republican I just fucking throw an elephant on here if I could and just be the whole Republican Party. Because this morning, the actual police footage was released, and it is horrifying to watch when the cops just stand there for a moment and let the attack happen on Paul Pelosi. So now,
so that's the video because we're gonna have two big video footages dropped.
Yeah.
Paul Pelosi dropped, and then the police officers killing.
Right. So
Tyree
that
Nichols
one
is gonna be dropping.
So
too.
that one, well, we can take a look at that one. But the video before that is And Tucker Carlson was the one that really pushed this idea right after it happened at the end of October. I think it was like the 28th, something like that, is when he was attacked. And immediately that night, immediately that time, because we were on the air, we were live,
right when it
and
was
people
announced.
were trying to push this idea. Oh, he was a leftist, and he was a.
You're talking about
nudist.
Paul Pelosi being attacked in their
Right.
home by a MAGA
Yeah.
assassin with a hammer.
Exactly. And so David DePage, or whatever his name
Right.
is, in real time, we were on the show and we were debunking these lies that were being told. This guy was a nudist and a leftist, and he was a liberal, and he was this and that. He was actually a fan of Pelosi, and blah blah blah. All this bullshit.
Right, and it was really easy to debunk.
Right.
Like as we were doing it live on the air.
We're pulling up actual screenshots or photos or
That show
or
the
posts
opposite
that he
of what
had.
they were saying.
Exactly. And so, DePape. I don't fucking care what his last name is.
Yeah,
Anyway,
who gives a fuck,
the
that
point
guy.
is, immediately after, Republicans jumped on. Don Jr. posted a photo with underwear and a hammer and said, "Here's
This
my
is right
Halloween
before
outfit."
Halloween. This
Yeah,
is right before Halloween.
Right before Halloween. And so Tucker Carlson, who is probably the worst of the batch in terms of spreading misinformation, and it's not a news station, it's just a fucking entertainment station and an entertainment show, which they legally had to prove in court so that he couldn't get sued. So
That's why we
Tucker
don't call
Carlson-
ourselves news here. I mean, we commentate on news, but we're not news.
And so Tucker Carlson was, out there beating the fucking drum and came out and said, "Oh, why are they hiding this stuff? Why won't they show us the footage? Why was this guy in his underwear? Blah, blah." All of these were lies. The idea that he was some gay lover of Paul Pelosi. He was
Is
in
that
his
what's
underwear.
in the clip you sent me? I've got this clip.
Yeah, in this clip, he talks about, and then he also talks to Larry Elder, and then they basically talk about, like, what are they hiding? Why is the footage off limits? Why can't we see it?
Right. It's all questions that are geared towards to pump more misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
They're disingenuous questions to lead his followers into believing more bullshit about the facts of the attack.
Right.
Now that the tape is released, all this stuff is debunked, of course.
Mhm.
I mean, other than
It happened exactly like they said it happened.
right. Either
Not
that
like
or
Republicans.
Tucker Carlson tonight would be like, "Can we believe that that's actually the tape?
Yeah.
What?
How do we know it was
how do we
doctored?
know that we didn't doctor it? How do we know this wasn't done after the fact on a Hollywood set? Are we really dumb enough to not be able to just disseminate information when it's presented to us as fact? I mean, this is.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, we're just asking. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just asking the question that
I'm
you
just
should be
an
asking
inquisitive
yourself.
mind.
I'm
Here
trying to
asking
mind
questions.
fuck you and hypnotize you into believing whatever you want to believe is the truth. But let's listen to this fucking lunatic go on and on and on about lies without any shred.
And I guarantee he
of
will not
evidence.
say anything about it going
Well,
forward. He'll never mention it again.
He'll never mention the lies that he
He'll
told.
never mention it.
No.
It's been more than a month since Paul Pelosi was attacked in his home on a Friday night in San Francisco.
And we do a pretty good mocking of him, but the reason why he sounds like that cadence, it's just think of it. If you have children out there, or you've ever had to deal with children, to try to kind of do the whole little lie thing to get them to do what you want.
Yeah.
You take that tone. You're like, look,
Yeah.
this is what we're gonna
Hey.
do. Yeah.
Hey, look, we are going to go to the ice cream store,
Right.
but don't tell your mother.
Right. Again, it's the whole tone. He's talking to them like they're little children because they truly are. Okay, let's listen.
So, what exactly happened in the Pelosi house that night? Well, there have been a lot of conspiracy theories about it, and people who've put those forward have been attacked for it. You're crazy. So, there's one way to end this debate immediately, and it would be a constitutional way to end it. In fact, we should be demanding it, and that's to see the body cam footage from that night. Because these police are public servants. They work for the rest of us. They have no right to hide that. But the police, for some reason, have refused to release that body cam footage. We get body cam footage every day.
Okay, so again, this is just a fucking bold-faced lie. We don't get body footage every day.
Yeah.
There is a legal process in most states that the the law enforcement agency can't just fucking put the body cam footage on YouTube. There's a legal process that happens in most states.
An
And
investigation,
right.
You can't release evidence and then potentially ruin any sort of
prosecution of
prosecution, right?
But
you
again,
would think that Tucker Carlson would know that.
Well, he does know that.
But he's an idiot.
Are we to expect that Tucker Carlson doesn't know exactly what he's doing? Do we really think that Tucker Carlson doesn't know that he's mind fucking his audience? Are we really supposed to believe that? I mean, this is the shit that he does.
These are just questions.
These are just questions that I'm asking that you have to answer for yourself. I mean, this is the stupidity that he does. But again, I want to let everyone know that what he's saying here, the last idea, the last fucking commentary that he had on body cam footage is absolutely bullshit.
Yeah.
That there are some states that, yes, it's very easy to get body cam footage. There are some states it's very hard to get body footage. There are laws that the state legislators pass, and frankly, some of them are bullshit. They are. It is bullshit that we do not get access to body cam footage when, I don't know, like police murder of a black man, an innocent black man, and murder him. It is kind of egregious. Yeah. So, but again, he uses crumbs of predisposed biases to form these questions to make sure that his audience believes what he's saying by asking it. Mm-hmm. It's fucking propaganda 101. But let's continue with the bullshit and let's see how he framed this up.
In the news business, but they won't release this. And not only will they not release it, they are intent on not releasing it. In DePape's federal court case, a judge has just issued a protective order banning the release of sensitive information in this case, and that would include the body cam footage. What is going on here? Why are they hiding this? Is there
because they're going to prosecute him, Tucker Carlson, and they don't want the evidence out in the open before they get to the discovery phase of the prosecution. Right. You fucking bonehead.
Because there's a whole process that goes into. So let's say this is a jury court, right? You're not allowed, and obviously it's very difficult in today's world where it's like, how can you avoid all of the media, social media, news clips? Someone says this, you see an article here, whatever. Obviously, you're playing the honor system, but the idea that they'd be like, well, why don't we just release the body cam footage? Like, well, first off, if they release the body cam footage, then it would really prove the point that Democrats and what the authorities were saying. And it would totally disprove what Republicans were pushing. But obviously, our legal system requires us to hold on to evidence and not reveal it, to not sway, because again, you're innocent until proven guilty, right? And so this idea that if we were to reveal until the investigation is up and they have been indicted or prosecuted on something, like, they're not going to release evidence. It's not going to happen unless they have all their ducks in a row and they know exactly how they're going to go against the people that are guilty or being prosecuted or whatever it might be, before they have a chance to actually go through some proceeding. And so Tucker Carlson here is like, well, why don't we just do this? Why can't we just release the footage? That would be okay. I think it's totally okay. But he knows exactly. But he wants. It's the fucking Eminem stuff all over again. He's creating this fake outrage over something he knows the answer to. And whether or not he's really triggered by this stuff.
Oh, he's not.
The idea that they have.
This is all fake.
Yeah. The idea that they have people on their staff that know exactly what they can and can't say to avoid legal issues. The fact that he's like, he's always like, I'm just asking questions. Here I am telling you to get mad at this thing. But really, I know the answer.
Well, I mean, as soon as the news broke that Paul Pelosi had his head bashed in by a hammer, they were excited. I mean, they're
they're like, oh, he was in his underwear. It was his gay mother. Yeah. How did he get in?
They couldn't wait to make up shit about this story. They couldn't wait to make up shit. And I'm sure Larry Elder here does a great job of making up shit about this story. Let's watch.
What's infuriating, I should just say, I think Paul Pelosi is a very nice man. I've met him and I like Paul Pelosi. So I'm not interested in what Paul Pelosi was doing there. And I wouldn't be doing this story with you right now if they hadn't used it to attack their political opponents. Oh, this is January 6th. The right wing is attacking the Pelosi family. I mean, they use this story to attack their political opponents, so we have an absolute right and obligation to get to the bottom of it, correct?
That's right. I said something snarky about it after I made sure that Paul Pelosi was going to recover fully, and I.
Recover fully.
Yeah,
that is way
you know,
before anyone realized if there was going to be long-term brain damage to having a fucking hammer bashed into your skull by a maniac.
He act like Paul Pelosi fell down a couple stairs.
Yeah.
Like,
he was like,
now
that I know he just had a scrape on his knee.
Right, and people get pissed off at me when I fucking dance on these anti-vaxxers' grave when they die from not getting vaccinated, because that's why they're dying from not getting vaccinated.
At least you know the outcome.
That's right. What are you gonna do? And here this motherfucker is. He's like, well, look, I made sure he was okay before I
made sure he at least had a pulse before I made a joke.
Right. I mean, even if he didn't, I probably still would have made it. But this piece of shit.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And you wonder why he didn't become the governor of California.
Oh, thank God.
Right. Well, that's
as someone who was in California, I just gotta say, thank goodness. I mean, he was fucking body slammed and had no chance, but there was the possibility.
Right. Well, I mean, he was on the ballot, so, which is weird. There's obviously things early on for Larry Elder where he was like, I'm not going to run. I don't want to run. And then California's recall law is weird, though.
It is.
Because they've had a lot of recalls. I mean, that's how Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor, right?
Well, yeah, they had recalls, but then because of COVID, they were able to extend it and get the amount of signatures needed to actually put forward a candidate. And they put Larry Elder, who is an idiot.
You don't say. You don't say. Well, let's get more of a whiff of this idiocy.
Other conservatives were attacked for speculating that something might have gone wrong, or something might be different than what they're telling us. So you're quite right. We ought to know what the story is. But we were attacked. It was used to show how insensitive and cold and callous conservatives are right before the midterms.
Yeah.
They're always victims, are they? Oh my God! Oh, we show our insensitivity to Paul Pelosi, and then they use it against us. Those sons of bitches! Like, give me a fucking break. Come on, you don't expect me to politicize your insensitivity to humanity? Get the fuck out of here! I'm gonna use that and leverage that every single time against you fucking idiots, because you want to destroy the possibility of Paul Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi even to be living in this country, let alone the majority of people in SF where they live in San Francisco. You fucking scumbags! Scumbags!
And it really comes back to the idea that, I mean, also great just moment in this freeze frame here of Tucker Carlson. But I will say, I think I
do really good unintentional freeze.
Yeah, just like freeze frame.
I'm really good at
it. But you gotta look at this, and you gotta understand that this is their attempt to get back at the Ashley Babbitt stories, right? Ashley Babbitt, insurrectionist, showed up to the Capitol, crazy mind fucked by right wing news and Fox News and right wing media, all that stuff.
And driven by Trump's speech and Trump's direction.
And she showed up, and she fucked around, and she found out, right? She got shot by someone who was doing their job. Again, Blue Lives Matter. You don't hear Republicans say that on January 6th.
Since I know the outcome, she fucked around and found out in the face. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Fucking around and finding out goes wrong. Yeah. But I think this is honestly a response, and you hear that in Tucker Carlson saying like, oh, they want to talk about this is January 6th. Yeah, it is, because you guys have spread a bunch of propaganda and misinformation about how the deep state and Democrats and liberals and leftists and all these people are trying to control you and oppress you and all this bullshit, and that's not what's happening, right? You have a bunch of right-wing nut job media hosts and pundits who push this idea to a bunch of other susceptible, vulnerable people who are very gullible, because that's what they are. And as a result, they go out and actually facilitate this crime. And they hear things like, Ashley Babbitt was a patriot, and she was doing her duty, and she was standing up for the Constitution, and she was making sure that we actually facilitated the proper protocols in place to confirm and verify the electoral, votes, right? And so when you have someone like Tucker Carlson, who's been pushing since January 6th that Ashley Babbitt was the victim, and Trump says she was the victim, and they all say, who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who killed Ashley Babbitt? I'm just asking questions. She was totally innocent. She was the victim, right? And when her mom gets arrested on January 6th, 2 years later to the day, they want to play the idea that Ashley Babbitt's mom was a victim. She was innocent. She was totally there on her own accord.
She has to be arrested. She has to be arrested.
And so
if you
when
watch
you
the
hear
tape,
them, when you hear them attack Paul Pelosi, and basically villainize Paul Pelosi, and in a way, they give the attacker this like, well, he was only doing what he felt was necessary.
But here's the thing. That's why they conflate the two, right? They conflate the two falsely because to compare them is ridiculous. It would be, I mean, the Ashley Babbitt comparison to the shitte or whatever his fucking name is that went in and bashed Pelosi and
the shithead,
whatever this guy is, whoever this fucking Mogladite is, this QAnon nut job. It would be like Paul Pelosi breaking into his house to try to take away his rights, and then the shithead pounding Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer, because that's what Ashley Babbitt did. Again, the exact opposite thing. It's the same way as they conflate January 6th with the protest that agitators on Trump's side turned into riots in 2020 after the George Floyd murder. And they want to blame Black Lives Matter for a lot of the property damage when it was agitators, not the protesters, not the peaceful protesters, which we're going to see more of that with this Tyree Nichols tape, I'm sure. And there's going to be more of this conflating January 6th with peaceful protest, when agitators turn a peaceful protest into property damage and rioting, because that's on the table here. It's part of what they want, and they're going to do it intentionally. But conflating these two things is fucking ridiculous. But that's what Tucker does. Now, you sent me a link to this Pelosi footage. Do we have enough time to watch some of this, or what? Or should we?
Yeah, it's only two. It's less than 2 minutes, but you can. Right. I mean, it's basically the moment at which it happens. As they're walking in from the street.
This is the body. This is the
body cam footage that Tucker Carlson wanted to have.
Well, this is the thing that they said. If we have this, we'll know the truth.
Right.
And I'm sure he won't be asking any questions.
Yeah.
And gaslighting about this video at all.
I mean, if anything, and you'll see there's a hesitation between the point at which they open the door and they talk to him and they shine the light. And then Paul Pelosi tries to he's like, no, don't. And then you see him swing, and then they go in. If anything, I could see Tucker Carlson saying, well, why didn't they act sooner? Why didn't they shoot him? Why didn't they protect Paul Pelosi? Is there some sort of underground hatred for the Pelosi family? I'm just asking questions. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
He's going to try to spin any narrative he can to divert from the truth in the first place, because the truth is here that Tucker Carlson, has stoked stochastic terrorism, and his language and his narrative and his messaging this is the direct result of him pumping and asking questions about QAnon conspiracy theories, as he likes to put air quotes.
I mean, he put it in conspiracies.
Right.
So you can scrub through and you can go to the front door when it all starts.
This is here? Right
here.
Right. Okay, back right here.
Yeah.
So this is right before they open the door. I'm assuming that the police officers knocked or rang the doorbell because they were called to this residence for a disturbance. I guess the reporting is, and that law enforcement has stated that Paul Pelosi made a phone call to 911 at some point when this MAGA shithead was in his house. But this is the moment where the police officers arrive at the front door. Let's watch.
Yeah, look sitting there. How you doing?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, man?
Good.
Hi. Drop the hammer.
Hey.
What is going on right now?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
Oh, shit.
You're going to want to cut it off here. Because after that, then you see a little bit of the blood, and you hear Paul Pelosi like struggling to breathe, and
because he was just smashed in the head with a hammer.
It's the whole thing. It's fucking horrifying, and there is a legitimate question, like why didn't the police, fucking tase him or something, or do something quicker? Why did they wait for it to happen? There are some legitimate questions, but obviously you're going to hear the right-wing media push that same angle and say probably like, oh, SF police are not trained properly, this and that, all this bullshit. And they're going to push it, they're going to push it, they're going to push it, and they're going to say how it wasn't, and they're going to ignore the fact, that he was ever attacked. And that all of their conspiracies and their ideas and their narratives and their misinformation that they spread before was ever actually a possibility, that they ever even said, like, what? I never said that, never did that, never even talked about it. And so then now they're gonna shift it and then place the blame not on the actual attacker, but they're gonna shift the blame on the police, and then say, why didn't the police act quicker? Why didn't they do something? Why didn't they stop?
The motherfucker knew time was running out. So on the last possible move, he knew I was gonna auto move to something else to put him in check, and he grabbed the queen. Sneaky fuck. That's just the Grammy shit that auto move creates, but I get it. But come on, man. Play the fucking game, bro. Play the game, not the clock. Play the game. Anyway, that's my grade.
Why do we do
Yeah.
You believe whatever you want to believe, and I'm going to ask the questions that makes you and your bias believe what I want you to believe, that I know you believe anyways, because I'm the one who told you to believe what you believe. It's so funny how Tucker Carlson is so mortified that the SF police, the San Francisco Police Department, would not release the body cam footage because he would know the truth. And he was actually projecting to his audience at that time of what would be in the body cam footage. So that way, when the body cam footage is released, to say the facts that he knows are fucking true because law enforcement's saying it and backing up, and he doesn't need the tape to believe them. Yeah. And he's basically what he did, folks, and this is why we pulled the audible for Tucker Carlson to be the dishonorable mention, because it's dishonorable, disgraceful, and despicable for fucking Tucker Carlson to intentionally lead his audience to automatically take this video that he knows was going to show what law enforcement said it showed. He knows that. He knew that. He knew it. And he is stoking more terrorism just like this by doing that then. So that way, when this tape is released, they don't believe that that's terrorism. No, it's not. There must have been something else. Must have been something else. Which, speaking of something else, leads us to our Alpha Cuck of the week. Now, I can think of a million reasons why this guy is our Alpha Cuck, but I think we have a specific reason here.
Right.
Elon Musk ended up on our Alpha Cuck. Now, yesterday we got news that he met with Hakeem Jeffries. He met with Hakeem Jeffries to tell Hakeem Jeffries apparently that he was going to treat each political party with equal and fair treatment on his platform. But when he met with Kevin McCarthy, I think it was just so he could tell Kevin McCarthy happy birthday.
That's what Kevin McCarthy said.
He didn't have any discussions with him about.
They're like, why was he here? And then they're like, oh, to wish me happy birthday.
No collusion. He just wished me a happy birthday. It was a perfect happy birthday. It was perfect. Do you see the pattern here? No, actually, Elon Musk actually tweeted out yesterday that he met with Kevin McCarthy and Hakeem Jeffries. I told you, I don't remember what day it was this week. I said Elon Musk is going to go before the fucking House Republicans, and he's going to do exactly what they're claiming that the government did with Twitter, with the Twitter file. Like, he's going to do the exact thing that Elon and the Republicans are accusing the old guard at Twitter of doing. But I think that's why you put him on Bone of the Week, because of some other stuff.
Well, also, hold on. I'm getting this. I haven't verified this, but Sienna Ponders says, though Musk said he also met with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, an aide to Jeffries said he did not have a scheduled meeting with the billionaire, but was introduced when they crossed paths in McCarthy's office. So even the meeting itself on the left side to balance it out isn't a real thing.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
no.
surprise, surprise, surprise.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, again, it's all projection. Even
Right.
from Elon, it's always projection. This is what these people traffic in is bullshit information. And Twitter files is just a prime example of bullshit information. They're taking breadcrumbs of facts and twisting it into the narrative that they want to spin. Not the actual truth, or giving context to why those facts are the way they are. It's the same thing Trump did. We just watched the tape when he's like, the FBI paid Twitter $3 million to do work that they needed them to do, and Twitter didn't expect to do it for free. I mean, it's really stupid.
Yeah.
We went over that yesterday.
Yeah.
In the tape with Trump.
Because you know, at the end of the day, for that one, it's like if you were someone contracting work out to another group, you would pay them for the work because they weren't able to do what they normally do. It's pretty standard business protocol to say, I have a job or a task. Can you fulfill it?
Bro.
If so, I will pay
Damn.
you for that work.
So who is this Ella Irwin?
So she's the head, or you know, she's the head
Now,
of state. She took over.
now
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Now is.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of stuff in this article which I recommend reading. But basically, the TLDR of this is that while Elon pushes the idea that he's a balanced approach, right? He's a person in the middle. Even though right before the midterms he said vote Republican.
Free
He said, yeah. He said vote for Republicans before the midterms. The guy who has 120 million followers decides, hey, the best thing I can do right now as an independent, you know, kind of watcher of politics who never even voted in the midterms, right?
Is to tell other people to vote
To
for
tell other people
a
what to
certain
vote
party.
for, right? And so
Not even
in
a
the-
certain person, a certain party.
certain party, right? He goes, I think it'll be better if we have more Republicans. And really, you think that? Look at
Well,
the
but,
shit that's in there.
Gabe Sanchez, the reason why is because he knows Republicans are going to be on his side and not want to hold him
Oh
accountable.
yeah, totally.
They're going to want to work with him
That
on
was a good one.
this disinformation campaign that is
Rematch,
Twitter files.
buddy?
And I'm
No?
guessing that this story about Ella here is
to
part of
rip
that
my rip.
disinformation profile
about
that
to
the
rip my rip
Republicans are
right there.
really trying to get Elon Musk to cooperate on, because we know, and in your tweet you say
put him
in
in
November
check.
Elon
I was
Musk
about to
banned
put my rip right
activist
there to
Chad Loader from Twitter,
Put pressure on the queen.
which was several times.
Back
Like his
clean up.
account was on and
Yeah,
off, on and off,
depending
on
on
and off,
Larry's
on and
queen
off.
man.
Chad
I
goes
would've
by they
moved my
them.
queen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Their account was on,
right
off, on,
there.
off, on, off.
Taking,
But then,
And it also happened. It also happened after Chad had revealed
taking the knife.
there was a hack that happened, and a bunch of accounts had been leaked, and
Right.
and Chad revealed that he posted, or they posted
was a good
on Twitter, and right after, Chad was, I think within a few days or something, Chad was suspended, right, and then
Right.
came back and then suspended again, and then you know.
yeah, it was
hasn't
on
been
off for like several weeks there.
Right.
And you go on to say, in Twitter's internal system, a noted, quote, suspension direct request from Elon Musk. And that's towards Chad's
Let me give it a minute.
Right.
to,
suspension. But
can
at the
catch up.
same time, you go on to say Elon loves platforming right-wing idiots like Kat Turg and Nazi Nick Fuentes. Now, Nick Fuentes, his reestablishment of his Twitter account was short-lived.
Yeah, it was
because I
like
think
24 hours before he
Right.
got suspended again.
Right.
But the other thing too, in this article, they also talk about Jack Sweeney. Jack Sweeney is the teenager who created ElonJet, right? Which was the service that tracked Elon's flight patterns based on
That's the one
public,
that he claimed assassination
yeah.
attempts and bullshit.
which then we find out later that there was nothing involved with an assassination attempt. This person was not connected to Elon Musk or in terms of wanting to hurt him. So Elon made up a story about how this person had tracked through ElonJet, the Twitter account, found where he was going to land, thought he was there, and then attacked the driver and his son, X, in the car. But it turns out that was all fake. It wasn't real. It was a made-up story for Elon Musk to
No.
justify
Surely not.
to suspend or ban ElonJet and
They
Jack
don't.
Sweeney, the
They
creator.
don't lie to us, do they?
Yeah. No, they don't lie to us.
So this Ella is she a?
She's the head of trust and safety. So she
right.
took
I know,
over
but
for
is she an
Yoel.
Elon simp? Is she an Elon?
Oh
simp?
yeah.
Oh,
She's
she
the one
was.
that's been helping with the Twitter files. She was also the one, I think, that was in direct connection with getting ElonJet and Jack Sweeney
Well,
banned.
great. Why not put a liar in head of trust and safety?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not do the exact opposite of what the department is trust and safety, put someone that you can't trust and is not safe. That's
Right.
perfect.
Why wouldn't we put someone in who just completely throws out trust and safety fucking out the window and then also torches it and says, I am the captain now. You know, it's like, it honestly is this moment where Republicans want to claim that, oh man, we're being persecuted, we're being oppressed, and our voices were being suppressed on this platform, and Jack and all these other people were doing it. And then you find out that now, because there's no, and here's the other thing, there was a team in place, right, that if executives made a decision, that team would then check the executives to say, we shouldn't do this, right? There's a check and balance. They're almost like they had created kind of a democratic system where they said, if someone makes a decision...
Whoa. Easy on the democracy here.
I'm just saying. Okay, I'll just call it Dematria.
Yeah.
So they had this Dematria system.
Okay.
They had this democratic system that basically said, if an executive level person or group makes a decision, then another group, there's an oversight committee that says, you know what, we're gonna check you on that, and you're gonna have to confirm and
make your case
to why we should actually go through with it.
This sounds very suspicious, because it almost sounds like not authoritarian, and that would be a very difficult system for someone like Elon Musk to live in.
So when you abandon, when you totally ditch and abandon any of the moderation, the team that was monitoring AI
and the oversight, ethics. You get rid of the guy that had Yoel, who was the head of trust and safety, who had expressed concerns, as well as his team, around the blue checkmark scam that was going to happen. They anticipated this stuff. You mean that's still scamming us?
It's still scamming. But the idea that they had anticipated this stuff because, I don't know, they're fucking professionals, and they have years of experience.
It was obvious.
And nothing they were doing was illegal, and the Twitter files only show that. But they want to find some... oh my God, this is wrong, and look what they did, and they were totally trying to attack you.
Deep state.
And so you have this right now, and it just shows you that Elon Musk, again, despite what he says, helping out Cat Turd, helping out Nazi Nick Fuentes.
I can't even believe we have to say that.
West.
Helping out Cat Turd.
Like
now, here's my
Which
prediction.
Cat Turd has kind of turned on him.
Oh, well, yeah. Of course, because Cat Turd is not fucking tethered to reality, so...
Well, Cat Turd also doesn't understand how the algorithm works, so he was
well,
like,
that's
Elon, fix the algorithm!
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, is he's not tethered to reality here.
Right.
And that's what pisses him off, is because his reality is something that's completely not reality, and it hurts you in your quest for the truth and what is real. But here's the thing. Here's my prediction. And this is a really far-fetched prediction, but...
Is it?
Ella, well, it might not be, because I want to transition to our bonehead winner here. But my guess is that if Ella doesn't work out, which I'm sure she won't work out in trust and safety, seeing that she's such a fucking liar, I would bet Elon Musk might find a better liar than even Ella. I bet he could find a really good liar if, and only if, this person decides to resign their position as New York 3rd's congressperson, which is Representative George Santos, because let's face it, this guy is just an average Republican, but he loves every single Republican lie that he can get his hands on, like every fucking one of them.
This week was, oh boy. I mean, if there was ever a moment when
what was it again? What was this week? You said ooh boy. What? Say it again.
Ooh boy.
Boy. If you could describe George Santos's week.
This week was ooh boy. It really was a moment where you had to, you know, it is crazy that we have to have these, you know, these conversations, but you kind of say this out loud to yourself. You're like, wow, if there was ever a moment of all the things that George Santos has done that have been questionable, illegal, shady, whatever, he decides when he's under the most amount of fucking spotlight, limelight, you know, he's out there giving Chick-fil-A, which is an anti-LGBTQ pro-Christian group that makes food. But he's LGBTQ, you know, he's giving out cupcakes that no one should ever touch with a fucking 10-foot pole. His surprise was, I think just the snacks that he had given people, the donuts
he
and
put out
coffee.
a snack table. Put out a snack table, and
Yeah.
I think the surprise is that he would be surprised if you actually ate the shit that he put on the table.
Right. And
That
so
would
the
be a
idea
surprise,
that
you ate it.
you're right, and you would think, and I honestly think there was something wrong, like psychologically with George Santos, because
Gabe, he's a Republican.
yeah, I
keep
know,
telling
but
this.
you would have to assume that if a Republican was under an intense amount of spotlight, and you had reporters outside your door chasing you through the Capitol every single day, from the elevator to your office, from your office to the elevator to the garage, outside, everywhere around, you would think that maybe a Republican would say, I should probably just like ease the fucking brakes right now,
Brakes, bro.
and not do anything that's crazy, because I got a lot of people looking at me right now, right? And I would say that Republicans in some regard are a little bit smarter, that they would go, you know what? I did some shady stuff, and I can probably excuse the past, but if I do it right now, I don't have a good excuse. So I probably want to, at least for the moment, ease off the brakes, don't do anything crazy or illegal. But with George Santos, he goes, well, why not double down? Yeah,
Well,
why not check it in?
Again, Gabe Sanchez.
Bing,
You're a good friend. You're the co-host, the executive producer here.
bing.
But
Oh,
I've been telling
I
you
gave
this
that a
since the
check.
day we met George
Yeah.
Santos in the universe of commentary and
Yeah.
the political body, in the political space. George Santos is not the original Santos.
No, not at all.
Donald Trump is the OG Santos, and he's only following the Trumpism model here. He's only following
I
because
will agree, that is true.
because
but I
our
do
audience-
believe that other Republicans would probably pump the brakes, at least for a moment. But then we found out this week that he was like, nah, and then did something that was like, oh, that's definitely illegal.
So George Santos ended up being the bonehead of the week. You vote, and you decided, and of course you decided that George Santos would be our bonehead of the week.
It was pretty much even on both Twitter and YouTube. It was like the same 55% on both.
Right? So he got 55% on both polls, right? Is that
Mhm.
what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
There are so many stories this week about George
Yeah.
Santos that put him on the bonehead of the week, but I think the one that you put him on here
Check.
specifically is the I don't know, like the campaign finance crimes that he's kind of admitting to, and that he not only is admitting to, but he's doing like right out in the open.
Right.
So give us a rundown of why, because I know you got another story. You talked about it earlier. It's kind of in the back pocket. We're still confirming some things.
Still confirming some stuff.
And I want you to tell us as much as you can about that. But tell us first about, and give us the rundown of this, because there's a clip of him saying something too.
Right.
I'll try to find why you're giving the rundown of this.
Yeah. So the quick and dirty of this is there are two kind of financially related aspects that Santos doubled down on this week, right? Or confirmed. So before, I mean, you can even go back. There's a clip of George Santos talking to Matt Gaetz on the War Room while Steve Bannon was on assignment, aka he was in court for his We Build the Wall scam.
Oh, is this the one where Matt Gaetz asked him where the money came from?
Yeah, he
And
goes,
said, I can tell you where it didn't come from.
Exactly. He goes, it didn't come from this or Ukraine or this or whatever. And he's like, well, that's an answer.
Back up, bro.
But what preceded it was, a lot of
Sure,
people
you've
have,
heard once,
a
bro. Back
lot
up.
of people have been questioning where your money came from. And I personally donated my own money, on my campaign. This is Matt Gaetz. He's like, I personally, when I've done charity work, I make sure to contribute to my own charities and things like that with my own money. And I know that you personally loaned your campaign $700,000. And he goes, yeah, and confirms it.
Come on, man. It's not
And then
that
he
hard.
asks him, where it came from. So I think
So let's
you're gonna-
watch this. Let's
There's a
watch
move.
this where he asked him where it came from.
Work you did that was the origin of those resources?
Look, I've worked my entire life. I've lived an honest life. I've never been accused, sued of any bad doing. So, it's the equity of my hard working self, and I invested inside of me. Like I said, it didn't come from Burisma. It didn't come from Ukraine, Russia, China, unlike some folks that we all know that get money from those sources.
Okay, so
Trump has to be totally jealous, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's not the clip. There's a clip that's right before it because he's
right.
now
Right.
so
Right.
like
This
within
is
the
this
same.
is the follow-up of him saying,
Yeah.
yes, I did. confirming,
about to get
yes,
took.
I did give my money to the campaign. And Matt Gantz's question was, well, where did this money come from?
Right. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what did come
That's
from.
the question. That's the
And you know
question.
where else it didn't come from? George Santos, because he did not give
Whoa.
the personal
Whoa.
loan money.
Well,
Yeah.
well, are you telling me that the scandal this week is that George Santos lied about a lie about another lie that he did? And now my guess is that he did something corrupt and criminal to try to cover up the lie off top of the lie on top of the lie. Am I right? Am I right? in saying
Yep.
this? Okay, so what happened here?
So then they went in and they tried to amend. They tried to amend the financial filings that they have for the campaign filings,
Which sometimes is a regular thing.
yeah, totally.
Sometimes is a regular thing.
Right.
Well, is a thing they should do if they find a discrepancy. They should amend it, right?
Right. But when you're talking about the amount of $500,000, that's a big amendment, right? And his financials are already under scrutiny because he filed a lot of expenses for $199.99, which is under the $200 mark that you're supposed to be reporting this stuff. So it's unusual that all of these amounts equaled out to exactly $199.99. It's almost as suspicious as Trump charging $99 for digital trading cards and then saying you can only buy 100, which means that you now have to pay, under the $10,000 mark for these digital trading cards, which is right under the $9,999, under the what is required to file and report to the IRS. So it's just as suspicious. Again, just like OG Trump, it's the same. Yeah, that's weird. That's suspicious. But it's the same thing. So then when you have George Santos saying, anywhere from $500 to $625 to $700,000 of his personal loan was done from him, which, by the way, we know all of the lies of Santos being like, oh yeah, I was a landlord and I owned like 11 properties and I did this and this and this and I worked for Goldman Sachs and Citibank, and then all of this stuff is a complete lie. The guy was broke almost all the time. He lived in an apartment with his mom, his sister, and then also other people. There's new accounts of former roommates being like, oh yeah, we cycled in and out of that apartment while we were living together, and it was a complete mess. It was chaos. In New York. And so this week they were like, oh, actually we're gonna amend the filing, and then it said, and so another amended filing said that disclosed that $125,000 from a loan from the candidate in late October also did not come from personal funds. But like the $500,000 in questions, he did not say where the money came from, right? When the loan was due, or what the entity, or who backed it, or where it came from at all. That was what happened this week. And then we find out that George Santos, it committed fraud.
Wait. You're telling me, because
damn it,
I'm almost guessing.
What are you doing?
Yeah. That because this clip here.
Christ.
Let's play this clip here where he says, "I don't touch my filing."
Right.
Let's listen, and then we'll see if that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing. I'm just gonna make guesses, but let's watch the clip first.
You can always just assume it's always.
I don't amend anything. I don't touch any of my FEC stuff, right? So don't be disingenuous and report that I did. Know that every campaign hires fiduciary. So I'm not aware of that answer, and we'll have an answer for the press regarding the amendment from yesterday.
Okay, so he's saying my FCC filings, normally what you do is you hire like an accountant, a fiduciary, to do that work for you, so it doesn't look like you're doing it on your own. It's someone who's separate from you.
Yeah, a third party.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. And maybe George Santos said he did hire someone, and maybe he put their name on that hiring. I bet what you're going to tell me, though, I almost bet what you're going to tell me is that he's a fucking liar in this clip. Is that what you're going to tell me? He's a fucking liar in this clip?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because what we then found out...
I can't believe I gave that up.
Oh, my God.
Was that he sent a letter, the letter from Santos on his paperwork.
The fiduciary?
Yeah.
Wow.
It basically...
The guy that they hired to be the fiduciary.
They hired, Thomas Detweiler, right? They claimed was their new treasurer and custodian of records.
The fiduciary.
Yeah. Simple terms, fiduciary. I'm just trying to spell it out. So basically what happened was people started asking questions. They say, where are these amendments? Why are you amending? This is a lot of money. What happened, right? Because the week started January 23rd, right? The money story came out January 24th. So that was Tuesday that it came out that these loans weren't personal. They came from somewhere else, and he wouldn't tell us where.
I know I look weird, but I'm just waiting to be surprised, which I'm not.
Yeah.
To be surprised.
So that's Tuesday. So the week starts Monday after he had just been dragged the previous week. And then Tuesday comes around and we find out, oh, this money wasn't actually from personal loans from himself. And then Wednesday, we find out that in an attempt to like scurry and fucking cover up the lie with another lie, what happens is he says, oh, actually, I do have someone who's handling the fiduciary responsibilities of my campaign. His name is Thomas Datweiler.
That's great.
Yeah,
great.
He's the new treasurer and the custodian of records. So that's one. It's one thing to say like this is the person, right? However,
I bet you're gonna say Thursday. There's something else happened here.
Well, yeah, but it's still part of Wednesday. But we'll call it Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Basically revealed that signature by Datweiler, right? To say like, hey, FEC, we're amending these documents.
The new fiduciary that he said in the clip.
I'm doing all of my role, my responsibilities as fiduciary person, right? Except we find out that George Santos actually forged Datweiler's signature on the forms, claiming that he was. Meanwhile, Datweiler's like, I don't know. I don't work with him, and I would not work with him.
Well, you know what?
And I don't know how this.
He might have been like, I didn't work with George Santos. I was working with Anthony DeVolder. I don't know.
I was working with Anthony Zabrowski.
Right. I was talking on the phone with Anthony Zabrowski and his assistant Anthony DeVolder. I was not in communication directly. Oh my God.
So George Santos in a week has, it's been revealed he's amended these financial documents.
How is anyone surprised that he is a member of the Republican Party and he is the vote that delivered us Kevin McCarthy as Speaker? How is anyone surprised? But and he is the reason why they changed the entire ethics committee so he can stay in Congress, because that was probably the promise that Kevin McCarthy made him when he got his vote.
I mean, when they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna basically we're just gonna totally gut this ethics committee, he was like, fantastic. Literally, he said, fantastic. That sounds awesome. I'm totally for it. I'm totally for it. We don't need to have these bureaucracies of people looking over my shoulder.
Who wants to
make
make sure members of Congress are ethical? Who would want to make sure of that?
Who would? And also the fact that he's on the small business committee is,
well, I mean, it is very entrepreneurial of him to come up with this fiduciary out of thin air here. I mean,
George Scamtos, or I mean, I just put dollar signs in the S's on
the Scamturian candidate,
the Scamturian candidate, George Santos.
Oh my God!
And I guarantee next week we're gonna find even more, because we have to also realize that George Santos is not gonna resign. He will never resign. If he continue, I mean, like, just the fact that he lied the way that he did this week, I mean, he's gonna go to fucking. He's fucked. So fucked. So absolutely fucked.
He's not, everyone keeps saying he's going to get extradited to Brazil. I'm like, he's not even going to get a chance to get extradited to Brazil.
Not at all.
He's so
like the other stuff
screwed.
In the past when you're like, oh, he lied about this, and he lied about his mom dying in the Twin Towers, and he lied about not doing drag. These are all like, I mean, they're terrible things to lie about, in the grand scheme, like your grandparents surviving the Holocaust, but they really were in Brazil during the whole time, and they're Catholic. The whole thing, you're like, that's like a real shitty human thing to do. Like, you wouldn't lie about those things. But when you start breaking the law,
but if you're a Republican, wouldn't you? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
these are typical Republican lies. I mean, Donald Trump told a lie about 9/11 too. That's why I keep saying he's the OG Santos.
Yeah.
Remember, he's like, oh, we watched as people across were cheering, Muslims were cheering. Like, it's not, it wasn't true.
He's like, I went down to the Twin Towers that day.
He didn't go down there. No. I knew people who died. He didn't know any of that shit. It was all fucking lies. It was all lies, and he was playing at the heartstrings of people who were affected by 9/11, just like George Santos was. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I keep telling he's the OG. Trump is the OG Santos. Santos is just following the model. He's just really shitty at it because he's stupid. Now,
he's like a Trump Padawan.
Right.
Trump is Jedi, obviously you have to be very skilled and talented. But, he's kind of like a Padawan, like he's a Trumper in training,
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's got his like Trumper training pants on.
would that be a
It's
diaper, or does it
diaper.
depend?
No, well, I mean, I guess it
depends?
depends on what state you're in.
It
you know?
depends.
It depends.
Okay, so we know this fraud here. It's been exposed.
Yeah.
George Santos is going to be in a shitload of trouble over this fraud, but there is another fraud, I think, that you are looking into. And you don't have all the details because we haven't confirmed every single piece of this thing.
So
but what can you tell us about a fraud that happened before he was a congressman? What can you tell us about this? That we're going to try to get this out in the open.
Yeah. And I'll just say this. I won't be the only one to report on this, right? I might have to. There might be details that I can't get, so I'll have to release the video after I get the full story. But basically, I spoke with the person who was in the animal rescue industry.
So this has to do with his dog, Jerry.
Yes.
Is that what you're
and
saying?
So and so if everyone remembers, or if anyone remembers the patch story that Jacqueline Sweet wrote. Who I also connected with the other day, and I chatted with her, and she super helpful and gave me some resources. But she's actually been digging it. I mean, she was like, look, George Santos it's like a rabbit hole. Once you start going down one path, it's not always going to be, oh, this is the clear answer. Because then what ends up happening is you realize that there's now like forks in the
So you're saying
tunnels.
You're saying there's a pattern to his line. Is that what you're saying?
There's a pattern to his line. I mean, there's a ton of lies. There's a new one that just came out that revealed he was sending messages that were pro-Hitler, right?
I seen this one yesterday.
Yeah. So
all the while saying he was Jewish.
Right. He was like, I was
Jewish,
and he's like ish, even though he's Catholic and his grandparents are from Brazil.
And he's
not
saying
from
Heil
Ukraine.
Hitler, which is
yeah. And that also comes out after, and then he responded to that last night playing victim by saying, oh, they're coming at me. It's a smear campaign and all this bullshit. And they're just making up lies. These aren't lies. These are actual posts. And I've seen screenshots. I think
it's like both Facebook comment sections, right? Where he's
and that's where they're getting him, right? Because I have his Facebook, and I know where he is, in the sense that I also have other stuff in terms of contact him, which I may do to verify certain pieces of information
about this other fraud, maybe.
Yeah.
So tell us about what you know back to this.
So it all goes back to the dog, right? We revealed that George Santos scammed this one veteran, Richard Ostoff, for $3,000 by saying he was going to help raise the money. And then when Richard was like, great, we raised the money to remove the tumor and the growth that's on my dog, Sapphire, George Santos goes, oh, you got to go here and you can't transport with them and this and that. And he's like making all these hoops that he had to go through. And it took so long that the growth had grown 4 or 5 times the size, and it was too big to remove, and he had to, unfortunately and sadly, put his dog down, euthanize his dog Sapphire. George Santos killed the veteran's dog. There's actually there's good news that also comes out of it now. Howard Stern talked about it on his show.
Yeah.
And Howard Stern's wife then connected and basically made these connections so that Richard could help get another support animal. So now he's going to get a new support dog to help him. Because right now he's got 2 personal dogs, but he doesn't have a support dog, I think is what I read. And it's all because of Howard Stern talking about on the radio and covering the story. Because again, Howard Stern, New Yorker, talking about this stuff, covering the news, and trying to help this veteran out. And now he's working with another organization to get a new dog. But the reason when you bring up there's a pattern, there is absolutely a pattern. And all I can say is that this is not the first time that George Santos has pulled this type of scam on someone when it comes to dog rescues. And the way in which he ran this quote-unquote, which I have not been able to find. He called it a rescue, it was a nonprofit. Myself,
there's no filing of it
and the reporters who have worked on this have not been able to actually find any actual nonprofit filing.
Okay. So I go back to the OG Santos. I mean, we know now that the election fund thing was not a real thing. There was no filing of it. Trump and his family have stole money from pet charities before. I mean, this It really does feel like Santos is the Trump in training here, but he's not missing the mark by doing all the frauds and all the scams and all. I just can't wait to hear this story about what pattern that George Santos is lying about, so that we can expose it, so that the world can see it. Not that Republicans or Kevin McCarthy or the Ethics Committee will do anything about it, because it doesn't exist anymore, because Kevin McCarthy sold his soul to the OG Santos and George Santos. But Gabe Sanchez, this is not a surprise that our audience voted for George Santos as the Bonehead of the Week. So, in true fashion here on Bonehead of the Week, let's once again, 4 out of 5 times, George Santos is 4 out of 5 on Bonehead of the Week. Let's give him his due.
4 out of 5. Jesus.
Oh, Santos, the Scamchurian candidate. You are a fucking bonehead. Everyone, every single Friday we do Bonehead of the Week here on the Tony Michaels podcast, and we post the clip on Midas Touch Network. Don't forget to subscribe to the Tony Michaels podcast on YouTube, and if you're on Midas Touch watching the clip right now, make sure to subscribe on our channel, the Tony Michaels podcast on YouTube and the Midas Touch Network. Also, you can vote for Bonehead of the Week on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod and on the YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe. Have I said it 3 times yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel? Subscribe. Go to the community tab. You'll be able to vote on the community tab for Bonehead of the Week every single week, and on Twitter, and also download every single episode of our podcast. And don't forget to watch live every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific, for 2 full hours, where in the second hour of Friday, we do Bonehead of the Week. George Santos, boy, you've given us a lot of bonehead content because you are a fucking bonehead. Everybody, this has been your edition of the Scamchurian candidate, Bonehead of the Week.
Oh, damn it. I just did that.
Bonehead of the Week.
I meant to, after I said Scamchurian candidate last week, I was like, oh, I've got the graphic ready to go, and then I forgot to finish it. So today I will, from my comment last week when I was like, oh, we'll call him Scamchurian candidate, I meant to share it, so I'll share it today.
Okay, good. On Twitter? Yeah, share it on Twitter. And we'll spread it around the Scamchurian.
I'm going to use the original.
The OG.
I think I'm going to use the OG poster from the movie.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. You mean the OG movie? Because
the OG
we are
movie poster.
Back.
Yeah,
right. Because there's 2 Manchurian candidate movies.
Right.
And in the original, I believe Frank Sinatra played the Manchurian candidate, didn't he? In the original? Am I wrong on that?
I think so.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
If I look at the 1962 film,
wasn't in the original?
Oh no, Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
God damn, I'm good. God damn,
yeah.
I'm good. I know a little bit of movie.
He plays Major Bennett Marco. No. He's not.
Oh, he's not the Manchurian.
Raymond Shaw, I believe.
But Frank Sinatra is in the movie.
Yeah.
He's in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shaw
I wasn't dead on, but
Shaw is the sleeper agent, and Frank Sinatra plays the major in that.
Well, maybe I felt Santos inside of me, so I lied about it. You know, just a little.
Don't disrespect Sinatra like that.
Just little lies here and there, a little bit of fraud, a little bit of campaign finance violations, federal violations. Just little stuff that these Republicans do, like George Santos, who is just an average Republican, and we will drag them, we will mock them here on the Tony Michaels podcast. So don't forget to tune in every single weekday, noon Eastern, 11 Central on YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube right now. Do not forget to do that, and follow us on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod. Download it at every single directory, everywhere. And if you're on Facebook right now, follow us at the Tony Michaels. Also on Twitch. Twitch is free. Why not? Why not? Grab the Twitch app.
Hey,
Grab the Twitch app. Why not? Why not? Watch us there too.
Bro, using.
We appreciate the audience out there. And again, I want to give one last shout out before the weekend to all the people who have went over to my Patreon and supported me. And I think you're setting one up too, right, Gabe?
Yeah, I'm gonna set one up. Yeah.
Good. And that way people can
probably
support.
I'm gonna work on it this weekend, and I'll it'll be, you know, if
help
anyone
support the
doesn't
what
know,
was that content.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
so
will
we'll probably have it ready to go on Monday.
You're working. You're wanting to do some new things with it. So anyone who watches and loves the what was that piece of content, be looking for Gabe's new Patreon for what was that specifically, to do more and more of that kind of content. And we will try to promote, of course we do here, promote the what was that content. But so stay tuned. We'll give you those links. You'll get the linky links. You get those links.
Click those linky links.
Right. But I want to give a shout out to everyone who has joined my Patreon. And then again, for those people who get a special shout out, I'm still working on exactly how I'm going to do that. I've got some ideas, but I'm going to come up with some stuff over the weekend, and we'll do something next week to give everyone who has joined the $20 tier on my Patreon a proper shout out for you guys. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm getting some ideas. I'm collecting some things, so we'll do that. Everyone have a safe weekend. Be safe. Be vigilant out there. I'm telling you, this tape of the murder of Tyree Nichols is going to arouse feelings in this country, and there's going to be surely some peaceful protest, but be vigilant. And also, no justice, no peace. And you moderate white people out there, you need to understand, don't be complicit in this situation, because there's going to be a narrative that is going to happen over the next 6 months, 8 months in this country over this video, I think. Also, I did post I did tweet out the Paul Pelosi video. We didn't show the whole thing here, but you can go watch the whole thing in that clip. I tweeted it out, so you can check that video out. And as soon as I can get some clips of the Tyree Nichols, whatever is allowed to be posted on social media, I will be retweeting on Twitter. I definitely believe that you have to go watch it. You cannot be comfortable. You cannot have peace. You have to watch this video. You have to know what happened. It is super important because, again, in the Birmingham letter from the Birmingham jail of Martin Luther King and the Black Lives Matter movement, after George Floyd was murdered, and every single man, woman who is murdered by police officers in this country, no justice, no peace. Have a safe weekend. We will see you same time, same place on Monday. Surf's up, motherfuckers.
You've been listening to the Tony Michaels Podcast. In your face commentary of current events and political news. No rules, no boundaries. I think we've made that perfectly clear. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. In the meantime, follow Tony on social media at The Tony Michaels. And until next time, raise a fist and repeat after me. Fuck 'em.
Murphy's Mule Barn, head ass speaking.
Yes. Take that too. Yep. That one had to hurt. Which one you losing? That one. Bummer. Yeah, that was good timing on this one because 4% left and it just ended. It's pretty good. No senor. Okay. Gross. Just gonna try to brute force it. Yeah, I'm not gonna. What about that life, homie? Damn. Take it. Ha! Jackass. Done. All right. Oh, I can't take them. Shit. Ballwash, you bastard. Alright, that's a good time to pause it right there. I gotta get this thing on a charger before anything. So I better stop it before it crashes out. It's at 3%, so it's a good time to stop. Alright, I'll see you in a minute.